The UFC is known and loved by audiences thanks to some of the greatest rivalries seen in sports, but occasionally we might come across some news that isn't brutal but quite sweet. Peter Queally has voiced his thoughts about Conor McGregor's highly anticipated comeback, and all we can say is that the two-time champ is lucky to be surrounded by such supportive teammates. Are you wondering what he said? Don't worry, because we're about to get into that right now. First up, Conor McGregor will show fans why he's one of the best. McGregor has only won once since becoming the two-weight world champion in 2016, but teammate Peter Queally expects him to make a triumphant return at welterweight. Conor McGregor will no doubt remind fans just why he's one of the best when he makes his return to the UFC, according to teammate and Bellator title contender Peter Queally. He won lightweight gold in Bellator last year and is confident that when he returns next summer, he will show why he's still an elite fighter. The Irishman has been out with a broken leg since his trilogy with Dustin Poirier in July of last year and has bulked up to 195 pounds, indicating that he will return at welterweight. Queally added that he'll always be there to help Conor, seeing that he's been a part of his camp for many years. Speaking to Mirror Fighting at Bellator and FM 104's Christmas toy drive in the pair's home gym of SBG Ireland, he explained that he was looking forward to seeing him again. What's more is that he revealed that McGregor looks phenomenal at weight and is as big as he looks on Instagram. No, he's actually bigger when one sees him in the flesh. The teammate is excited to see him return to the welterweight category with a big welterweight frame. Soon he'll have reminded fans all over the world why he's one of the best in the world of MMA. Up next, McGregor declared his leg completely dead after his injury. One reason why McGregor's return is so exciting is that he's had a bumpy ride over the past few years. Dustin Poirier fought the Irish martial artist at UFC 257 almost 2 years ago and won when his opponent broke his leg just a few seconds before the end of the first round. While the result was one of the most memorable knockouts in recent UFC history and propelled Poirier to the ranks of MMA superstardom, McGregor hasn't had it all that easy, so fans are waiting with bated breaths to see if he can return to being the icon they sorely miss. Queally's confidence in his teammate is even more amazing because McGregor had made his injury sound scary. Sure, the clip of him breaking his leg turns our stomachs, but it's his words that revealed how intense the situation was. In fact, McGregor told reporters following his second-round TKO loss to Poirier that his leg was completely dead after a series of kicks. The Notorious explained that even though he felt his muscles were absorbing the blows, it was actually the front that was making contact. He felt that he was better, but did agree that his opponent put up a good fight, and by the time he decided how to win, it was too late. Poirier used a series of kicks to target McGregor's front leg from the start. The 34-year-old, who appeared to be determined to knock the diamond out with boxing-style punches, never adjusted to the kicks and lost mobility as the second round progressed, allowing Poirier to take advantage and land punches to the head that eventually led to the stoppage. Following up, McGregor is inching closer to his UFC return since taking the lightweight title from Eddie Alvarez at UFC 205 in Madison Square Garden almost 7 years ago. The legendary former two-weight world champ has won only once. He's managed to keep his stardom despite an unlucky 1-3 record marred by injuries and is still considered one of MMA's biggest stars. McGregor had not fought since his 42nd TKO victory over Donald Cerrone in January of last year. He blamed his defeat on his prolonged inactivity, but McGregor's failures in big fights have become a pattern. He's been outmatched by better all-around fighters in Khabib Nurmagomedov and Dustin Poirier since taking a break in 2017 to be humiliated by Floyd Mayweather Jr. in a boxing match. So, whether he can return to fighting form has yet to be seen. Not to mention, McGregor hasn't competed since the injury. 2 years is a very long time to be out of action. It was also the second of back-to-back losses to Poirier for the Notorious, which also isn't really improving his reputation in the UFC. It can only be improved once he starts winning fights again. Moving on, when could McGregor make his return? McGregor's longtime head coach, SBG Ireland founder John Kavanagh, told BBC Sport that he's been impressed by the early returns for McGregor's latest comeback efforts. According to him, the fighter is healthy and happy, and his team is also happy to have him back. Turns out he's been focusing on making his return, so fans should keep an eye out for more news. McGregor is expected to return in late 2022 or early 2023 and has already received numerous high-profile callouts from fighters vying to be his next opponent, including the UFC's uncrowned lightweight king Charles Oliveira, who has repeatedly stated that McGregor is his top choice to challenge for the vacant UFC title, while McGregor has yet to commit to a weight class for his upcoming return. Kavanagh noted that the extra bulk McGregor has packed on during his rehab has already been felt by the Irishman's training partners, but that bulk will not prevent McGregor from dropping back down 155 pounds if the right opportunity arises. Next up, who could McGregor be fighting once he returns? A number of intriguing fights have already been confirmed for the coming months, including a record 4th meeting for the flyweight title between Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno at UFC 283, and a lightweight championship bout between Islam Makhachev and Alexander Volkanovski in February. At Bellator 290, heavyweight champion Ryan Bader will defend his title in a rematch against MMA legend Fedor Emelianenko, who will compete for the 48th and final time. Manveer Rai predicted that he could see Conor McGregor fight Michael Chandler. This seems like the most logical fight for both fighters. While no titles will be at stake, Conor McGregor's long-awaited return will be the most anticipated fight of 2023. Plus, Chandler is a worthy adversary. Despite losing 3 of his 5 UFC fights, the former Bellator lightweight champion is one of the most entertaining fighters in the sport and will provide excitement when battling McGregor, because like it or not, the entertainment is half the fun. Coming up, a UFC legend believes Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor trilogy is possible. Chael Sonnen is sure that Nate Diaz wants to go up against the Notorious, even though his contract with the UFC has ended. Diaz left the UFC after defeating Tony Ferguson in the 4th round of the UFC 279 main event at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, and the rumor was that he now intended to pursue other endeavors, though Diaz was expected to dabble in boxing even after his farewell. His first fight was scheduled to be against famous YouTuber Jake Paul, which would guarantee him a $1 million prize. However, with nothing finalized, there's growing speculation that he may return to the octagon for a trilogy with Conor McGregor instead. Sonnen asked aloud on the MMA Hour if anyone knew what Nate Diaz was gonna do next. All he said was unknown at first, but then added that what he meant by it was that all options are on the table, of which could be one return to the UFC and fight Conor McGregor once again. He explained that the chance of a third fight between the rivals wasn't history just yet, and while a fight against Jake Paul or Floyd Mayweather was on the table, other things are all possibilities as well. Following up, McGregor was dubbed a punching bag after voicing new goals. McGregor, a former 2-weight UFC champion, has ballooned up to over 195 pounds in his time away from the octagon and wants to move up even further in weight. The legendary former world champ is best known for his featherweight and lightweight title wins that he held at the same time, and he's already completed 3 times at welterweight. He intends to stay at 170 pounds for his return to the octagon, but announced on social media this weekend that he would definitely consider moving up to middleweight by the end of his career. McGregor is only 5'9", which would classify him as a relatively smaller middleweight fighter rather than a welterweight. Fellow fighter Renato Moicano, who competed in the Irishman's former lightweight division, tweeted in a thinly veiled response, "Middleweight? Imagine being that delusional." And he's not the only one. Others seemed to agree with him and offered their own 2 cents on the matter, which made it seem that no one believed it's possible. And finally, McGregor seems determined despite others' shock. If fans are having a hard time understanding how McGregor will ever compete in the middleweight category, it doesn't matter, because the Notorious is unconcerned by the noise that's trying to bring him down. While watching last weekend's UFC event, which featured Sean Strickland versus Jared Cannonier, the former 2-weight champion tweeted that he would move up to middleweight. He added in the tweet that he'd be as big as a fridge when he got to the desired weight, but agreed that at the end of the day, it would be a lot of hard work to achieve what seems like an impossible dream. McGregor also shared a video from his training camp for his fight against Donald Cerrone in January 2020, in which he claims to be sparring with a light heavyweight. In the video, he lands some solid shots, including a big punch combo that knocks his sparring partner back a few steps, and a head kick. In case you forgot, he wanted to remind you just how good he was. And with all that, that's a wrap for this video. Do you think Conor McGregor's return will be as successful as Peter Queally believes it to be? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.